Welcome to International Love Story, the podcast about intercultural relationships. My name is Christina, and in today's podcast episode, I am going to welcome Lena. Lena moved to Mexico. She is married to Mexican and she is from Russia originally. But honestly, this is almost everything I know about her. She contacted me on Instagram a while ago, asking if she could share her story as well. We had a little pre-talk, and I'm just so curious to learn more about her because I know already that one part of our conversation today will be the topic of moving abroad in general and all the hardship, the challenges that come with it. And that's exactly also what I'm passionate about. So everyone who knows me, everyone who's following my story, everyone who's following on Instagram knows that a main topic on social media is moving abroad for love. And yeah, I'm curious to learn more about Lena, to learn more about their love story, in that case with Miguel, who's her husband, as mentioned before. So let's give a warm welcome to Lena. Thank you so, so much for being here today. Go ahead, introduce yourself. Who are you? What are you doing? Tell us all about you.
Thank you, Christina, for having me today. Yeah, I'm also very excited to share my experience, and I hope it will help someone not to feel alone in all this, maybe moving abroad and not to feel alone with some problems that international relationship can be having. So, my name is Lena or Lena. I'm originally from Russia, and now I live in Mexico with my husband, who is Mexican as well. And what I do here, I create a content. I'm content creator in Instagram about life abroad, about international relationship experience, about becoming new version of yourself, and in general self-growth, developing. So something more like motivational and also trying to help people not to feel alone in some situation in life.
So, to give everyone who's listening and watching right now an idea, what brought you actually to Mexico? Why are you living in Mexico at the moment?
Actually, a lot of people think that I moved here first and then I met Miguel, and no, but actually we moved here already together. Here it comes the story how we met. It was at the time when I wanted to just practice my English and I wanted to travel and work on the same time. So I started moving to the countries and working in different hotels because it's hospitality, I think, is the most like easy career if you want to travel. So I started in Croatia, I worked a little bit there, I worked a little bit in Poland, and then it comes Dubai. It comes the hotel in Dubai that I applied for. And when it all happened, I arrived to this big, beautiful hotel, and it was actually also very magical because I supposed to work in another place, but it was like 1 minute change, and I was assigned to one restaurant, one place where I met Miguel. We met in Dubai, so and after that we already moved here after a while after we got engaged to try our life in Mexico because he knew this place. He kind of explained me what we can do here, that it just in general we are both have this travel bug that we like to move, we like to experience new things, and that's how decision came to mind. I said yes, and yeah, why not, like let's go and try it.
Which year did you move to Dubai, and which year did you decide to move to Mexico?
I moved to Dubai in 2022, and we met, I think, already in the next week. Basically, in 1 2 weeks, we started like as a friends, but then it got very fast. We started dating, and in a year already we had this plan of going to Mexico, and we just needed to decide how to do all that, where to go exactly. Like we resigned from work and different kind of things. I went for 1 month to Russia to visit my family as well, and then already on the way we met in Turkey and went together to Mexico. So it was like all over a year. So I moved here in Mexico in 2023. And so I'm here like almost 2 years.
Did you know Mexico before, or was it more like Miguel telling you more about the culture, about his family, and then you were just like, okay, sounds great, let's do it, let's try it out?
I didn't know Mexico before. I haven't been here. And I think that also one point that can make things for someone surprising, but we talk about it later. Yeah, I was just very, I was confident, very brave, and I just said, why not? Sounds great. Let's go.
I mean, in your case, you've lived in different countries, so you've experienced different cultures, so you kind of knew already that each country has their own culture and its own challenges in a way. Obviously, we're all different, but we all have like, depending on where we're from, little special effects. Let's call them like this. I don't want to call it stereotypes, but special effects. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure that this is what gave you the strength to just go with the decision, also knowing that if anything, you can always just move somewhere else because you've done it before already. But I just find it very interesting that you met this guy in Dubai, you started dating, and then only a year later you moved to Mexico together. So obviously I'm curious, like actually I have so many questions, but I'm very curious to kind of understand what you were thinking and how you felt the moment you packed your things in order to move to Mexico.
Yeah, yeah, I understand your questions. The thing is, from the very beginning, we had such a strong connection. And for me, before, I didn't have that many English, like how to say, no English, conversation or friends or someone who I really need to speak English like as a friend. So it was one of my first experience really having kind of relationship any in English. And I remember that it felt so easy, and for him as well, even though English is not our native language, it felt so easy, so like flawless. I don't know, or flow, wait, what the word. So it all gave me confidence in general in him from the very beginning that we really understand each other. Then also it comes the time over this year that, you know, when the time pass and you start seeing real true of your partner, me of him and he of me. And even with all the difficulties, with all the differences that we discovered about ourselves, we always, and I saw it from his side as well, that we put all our effort to understand each other. Like it's not even some people who speak same language do that for each other. And for me, it was very significant, and for him as well, that you really put effort. Sometimes you really say, we're not going to sleep until we like solve this situation that happened, until we talk, until we understand what was it about. And I think that's the way that in general till this day is keep us very strong as couple. That's why over all these months I was very confident in him. I am very confident, and he proved it as itself himself with proposal, like how to say it. Of course some people can say it might not mean something, but anyway it's some strong gesture from a man that wants you to feel safe, want you to feel this commitment, that like it's not that we're going to Mexico and we're going to be just boyfriend and girlfriend. It's much more, and that big love deserved very brave gestures and brave actions that he did for me and I did for him, saying yes to going to Mexico. And besides that, of course, I was already super excited to see another country. I was super excited to, let's say, start a new life and resign from job that I wasn't really enjoying in Dubai, even though Of course, Dubai, I still remember it as our city, and a lot of beautiful moments happened like there. And I wanted something new. He wanted as well, and we said yes. Of course, I would say I had doubts, but I knew that it's not in a relationship. Doubts were about maybe the country, maybe, oh, if I'm going to like the food, oh, if I'm going to like the place where we're going to live, but I know that it's all can be changed. And something that I had no doubts, it's our relationship, that I can trust him and he can trust me of bringing me to his house, to his home country. So here it is. Would say that, of course, everyone needs to think a lot before doing some kind of steps like this and analyze the situation personally. But for me, it just felt right. It felt just how it's supposed to be.
So you didn't think about it for too long until you agreed, okay, let's just go to Mexico, let's try it out, because you saw all the green flags in your nowadays husband, especially the trust you've built in a language that's not your mother tongue, which I find, I mean, speaking out of my experience, it's crazy that you find ways to express yourself in a different language and you make it work, because it's, as you've mentioned, so much more effort to put into the relationship. And if you see that your partner is constantly also moving into your direction, that you're making compromises, that your partner is showing up and it's just not words, but they actually take action, and the other way for you it's the same. Those are obviously all green flags to look into or to look for in a relationship in general. And I feel like, yes, some people might say, like, the ones that have not experienced that yet, 1 year and then taking such a leap of faith, moving to his country in that case, because he knew Mexico already. It's his home country. I mean,
Yeah.
let's take that into consideration. Like, he knew what he would get into. You had no idea. So for you, it might have been even a bigger step. But nevertheless, so for people who hear those type of stories, who have all the stereotypes in mind, who are just like, oh my God, that's just so naive. But you did it, and it worked. And I find it very interesting that you just trust yourself so much. And obviously you trust in the other person as well, that to make decisions like this are quite easy, actually, because you don't have anything to lose. And also, you've built such a strong bond in just a very, very short amount of time, that you can trust your gut feeling, and you know that the other person will take care of you and you will take care of the other person. So it's just a mutual thing. So for one people, it might sound crazy. For other people like us, it's just, the most normal thing to do, to just go for it and to figure it out and try new things out along the way. And, just one challenge after the other, which we will get to as well, because I'm curious to hear what's next, or what was next in your relationship, as well as how you felt in the new environment, to get to this part of your first few weeks or your first few days. So you packed your suitcases, you moved to Mexico together, you hunted down an apartment, searched for an apartment, moved in together in Mexico. How were the first few days, the first few weeks of living in Mexico for you guys?
Yeah, it was quite an interesting experience in the beginning, because then when you already in the country, then your brain decided to trick you and says, oh my God, and what you going to do here? Oh my God. And like, why I'm here? I had a lot of questions like this in the beginning. And especially, yes, I had experience of moving to another country and living in another country, but Mexico is so much different. It has such a big difference with all the kind of European part that I have been, and even like Arabic country. But yeah, I had so many cultural shocks, and not all of them were bad or something. It was just in general that your body and your brain needs time to adapt. and that's very important to understand. I was not understanding it completely at that time. I was thinking, oh my God, what should I do to change it now? I remember, and I always tell it to someone who asked how was my first days in Mexico, that even the taste of bread, which is supposed to be like equal or slightly different in all the countries, I felt so much different. I felt it tastes like beans or something like this. That's super unusual to me. And all other food kind of same. It's same, like maybe milk, same international products, but for some reason it felt very different. And we also, first when we just arrived, we arrived not here directly, we arrived to more local city where his family lives. And that's also give this effect that I just don't belong here. Like I don't understand how I am going to ever make it, like how I'm going to ever feel like I'm at home or at the place that I feel comfortable. So in the beginning, it wasn't always positive. It was most like the process has been started in that moment. The process that I think was chasing me over first year of adapting to opening up, to maybe changing something inside of me that was so shocked. So yeah, it's not always that you come to the country, especially that you didn't experience and you love it. And it's not the same when you come to some tropical country or like exotic country as a tourist, and for you it's all adventure, for you it's all, yeah, just for a week or two and you coming back home, you know this feeling. But when you come in some place where you think you're going to stay, okay, a few years, it's completely different structure, like completely different way your brain take it all.
Do you speak Spanish? Or when
I
you moved,
speak
did
a
you speak
little.
Spanish?
No, I didn't speak when I just moved. I mostly, no, basics I knew, but of course I didn't understand.
How is it to navigate Mexico as a non-speaking or a non?
I would say better learn the language and just like don't try it, because now when I already speak, still not that fluent, because it needs, I think, just more time in terms of practice to reach the fluentness. But at least when you understand, at least when you can reply for yourself, it gives you also this self-conscious and self-confidence. I don't know, it just make you complete. Because if you don't speak, you will just feel lost. And even in such touristic places here, if everyone says here in Playa del Carmen, you don't have to speak Spanish, everyone speaks English. Maybe, but not everyone, and not everyone willing to speak English, and not everyone should speak English. It's still Spanish speaking country, and without the language, it only increases your feeling of loss.
Because that would have been, or that's actually my experience in Argentina. So we are married since 8 years, my husband and I already. And I kind of lost the opportunity or missed the opportunity of learning Spanish like on time. I should have learned it 8 years ago, honestly. And I kind of want to bite my own butt that I didn't start learning it as soon as we met or as soon as we took things to the next steps of getting married and all of this. Because now I'm here in Buenos Aires, I got to a point where I understand people, but I take forever to reply. And besides this, like, you try to navigate everything by yourself because, you know, you're an independent woman, you don't have to rely on anyone. And then you realize, besides the language, that you also kind of have to relearn everything. So it's just a different environment, different processes. Things here, especially in Buenos Aires, they're just so slow and so different to what I'm used to in Germany. So my brain sometimes can really wrap around the fact that it is a different system here. It's a different school system, different health system, they communicate differently. It's just, everything is different. And then you feel like, okay, I'm 4 years old and I'm trying to figure it out. I have to take it step by step and do baby steps. And back home, I was so self confident. And here I'm struggling with making a doctor's appointment, for example. I like to tell the story of the gynecologist, for example. So I had to take my husband to the gynecologist appointment. And in Germany, it's just something I just go once a year by myself, get a checkup, and that's it. And this time I had to take my husband in order to translate because the doctor wasn't speaking English, because most people here speak Spanish, which obviously, I mean, and I'm not expecting them to speak English, obviously, but they just know some basic English, and that's it here in Buenos Aires. And other parts of Argentina and Patagonia, for example, it's a little bit different. So there you navigate life easier in English, but here it's sometimes almost impossible. So yeah, you find yourself in situations where you're just like, okay, I'm here at the gynecologist's office. And yeah, my husband has to translate every single bit because otherwise I would be so lost. And even after 1.5 years of living here, there are so many situations where I'm just like, I would know exactly what to do in this situation back home in Germany, and I have no clue what I'm doing here right now. And I have to rely on my husband, which is okay, but I feel like, again, like a 4 year old because I have to ask for everything, almost everything, for support of my husband. So I'm wondering, how was this experience for you in the first few months, not speaking the language yet, not understanding what people would actually try to communicate if they wouldn't speak English? So how did you navigate the first few months in Mexico?
First of all, I want to add that you shouldn't like blame yourself that you didn't learn it earlier. I think it's super normal, and I feel it in some of my foreign friends here who also lives here. In some moment, because I used to learn a little bit of Spanish, like I wasn't speaking, but I had this app. I was knowing some phrases, and back there, even in Dubai, I had such a big motivation to learn it. I had such a big inspiration. And when we moved here, it's really completely different story because besides the language, you notice that, right? You need to rethink all the life processes. Like even just simple going to supermarket takes from you much more energy and much more self-conscious than before, and it's just different. And a lot of people, and me as well, I felt like, no, not only I'm learning, even like not I'm learning Spanish right now after all this stress that I already experienced. It's not that I am going to now sit and keep torturing myself with something that I feel like confused. Like I'm already kind of came back from outside to a comfort home where I just need to rest and not to push more with that. Yeah, some people may be lucky enough and they don't have this kind of state in mind when it's going in that direction, but I've noticed that it's really, really a thing that you might not have enough strength to learn it from the very first moment, even maybe not after a year. And I'm still also, for me, any doctor appointment, it's of course I'm going with my husband because otherwise it's a little bit different vocabulary. I'm not considering even trying, like I won't understand.
No.
And yeah, first few months, I felt like a kid. I felt like a kid who is walking with his parents, and his parents meet some other adults. And when they speak, the kid is super bored and the kid wants to go home.
Yeah, that's a good explanation. Feel you.
That's how it is. Like, you genuinely just don't understand what's going on, what's the conversation about, and it makes your brain, you're lucky enough if it doesn't make your brain irritated, because for sometimes I also felt so irritated, like I don't understand, like I cannot like do it like this anymore. And but most of the times it was like you just feel really in your own thoughts. You don't know what conversation was about, and you just want to already this conversation to finish for you to go, and like your partner will explain everything to you what's happened. But yeah, it might feel very, very difficult. After like over the year, then I think I started little by little just trying to speak, because the most important, it's not that you learn, it's mostly how you use it in real life. And I tried first in a taxi, was trying to like direct, then in supermarket maybe to ask something. Like in simple life situations, I was trying to use it. And of course, every time you succeed in those little steps, you gain more confidence. And I still, till this day, I try to evaluate my level, like try more difficult and difficult situations. I am mostly would say that I am not afraid anymore, even if I don't understand something. I just open my phone, I just type whatever I need to say, or I give the phone to the person, please, por favor, and that's it. So, like, it's mostly, I would say, your intention, what is matter, your intention, your mood, like your energy, because people feel it a lot how you approach. Some people approach and they don't even try. Like, they approach and they especially usually it's tourists, of course. They approach in English and they expect and they even get mad if you don't speak English to them. I am not one of this person, like one of these people. I mostly was always trying my best to at least half of the praise speak like insane Spanish. So probably it's exactly how you said, baby steps that you have to do every day. Also understand not to torture yourself. And for me, yeah, it was part of the struggle for sure. But over time, you just already don't take it as something unusual. You just, okay, I might not understand. Maybe it's for good. Maybe it's for the best.
It's interesting that I shouldn't say that out loud, but because I understand Spanish now better than I speak it, honestly, I understand my mother-in-law. I'm not sure if that's always a good thing. I love her. I love her. But she has her moments, let's phrase it like this, and I understand what she would say. It's just, it's just, yeah, a different situation. Let's phrase it like this
Yeah,
without
for me
going too much
now.
into detail.
Yeah, for me also now all the phone calls that Miguel can have, I already 80% what was it about, I know. Of course it gives you power. Like of course you feel no, you cannot trick me anymore. Like even I know that was about something, and like, it's not even that there is something to hide. It's just in general when you understand the situation, it's much better, but not always maybe that important.
Yeah.
It just depends how you take it. I would say it depends how you take it. Yeah, and probably I would continue with a little bit of this by saying that it's important for a partner who, like, for example, for in my situation for Miguel, for him, it was important to understand how it feels. Like, to understand each other, that it's not just okay, she doesn't speak the language. No, it's completely, it's a whole world. It's literally make you feel dependent. It makes you feel like a kid. It makes you feel just not complete. And for example, when my family was visiting and when we were visiting Russia, like it's very important for a partner to experience the same thing, probably to be on the same page, to understand that sometimes maybe you should translate, sometimes maybe you should, like, I don't know, to also, it works opposite way. Sometimes you cannot translate immediately. Like, I had a lot of situations in Russia when you in the middle of conversation, but I saw his face, he needs to know, he is a man, and he, this feeling they need to know what's going on, but I cannot translate immediately, even though I had education as a sing translator. It's not always an easy job to translate immediately to the person, and you need to be also very patient and from both sides. Like, it's a really teamwork. In this little aspect, it can challenge relationship, but it's a teamwork and understanding from both sides.
Some might think for Miguel it's an easy game because he's from Mexico. You guys are moving back to his home country. What sometimes is not taken into consideration is like, first of all, I'm sure he had to deal with reverse culture shock. And also, he wanted to make you feel as comfortable as possible in Mexico and welcome you. And that's a lot of pressure as well. So just to get this out there, there were always two sides of a story. And it's just, the way you approach things of having an open communication. A lot of the things that shape us is the way, obviously, we grew up. And if you've lived in Russia most of your time, obviously that explains a lot of your characteristics as well. Not all, obviously, but I find it very interesting to really do a deep dive into each other's culture in order to understand the other person even better. And this is also what we did. So I'm very, very happy that we're living in Argentina now after living in Germany for 5 years. So Nacho explored my cultural background, and now I'm exploring his cultural background with everything that's included, including family, language, stereotypes, food, living here in general, the weather, the climate. Uh, Having, for example, right now we're slowly heading into spring, but we just came out of
Yeah.
winter, for example, where it's the other way around in Germany, and it's just like, we're celebrating
Yeah.
Christmas in summer. So I'm wondering to get back to your story, obviously. So you guys really got to know each other. You guys found a way to have an open communication. As far as I can tell, you were very patient as well with yourself, especially by taking it step by step and not being too hard on yourself. But I'm wondering, because from what I'm gathering as well, is that there were a few challenges along your way. So I'm wondering, what were those challenges when it comes to culture difference, for example? So the biggest challenges you had to overcome over the past few months while living in Mexico?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. And I just want to add a little bit. It's very right what you said, because I love this. I wouldn't call it quote. I would say just expression that you have to, as an international couple, you have to visit a country of your partner more than twice. Like, at least it's supposed to be twice. Because first time when you arrive to the country, you just see it as a tourist. You see all the sightseeing, you see architecture, some, I don't know, cities. And the second time you go, you knew this already, and you know this already, and you just observe the people. You observe their habits, I don't know, communication between each other, how they look at each other, how they, I don't know, do face expressions and different kind of things. And we're still missing this second time of going to Russia, because I'm sure that's really help. Because for me to be in Mexico for 2 years, I would say I know already what to expect from the Mexican person, how to approach, how to ask for not to sound rude, like it's completely different worlds. And from there it comes the struggles where what you asked is that I will start probably with the most basic ones, that they say Slavic people have like rest face. It looks like they're angry or mad, like mad, which is completely not true. For me, it's really just sometimes have zero emotions. You don't express anything. But for Miguel, and I know for a lot of foreigners, something's happened. Nothing, I don't know, disturbing you. Are you okay? Are you all right? Like, are you mad at me or something? That's what I hear the most of the times when I am not controlling it, I would say. And I'll probably with every year, I feel how Miguel like getting me more in terms of he knows that I am not always, when I speak, I'm not always smiling. And it's completely normal. Doesn't mean that I am unhappy or something. And why it's a struggle? Because sometimes it's also one of the Mexican thing. They can not say things straightforward to you. Like for me, I say most of the things straightforward. I like to express. And for us, for Russians, it's also very important to complain about something, to say, like, if we ask how are you, we say all the whole story, what happened to us. And for them and for my husband, it's more of not logging someone with their problems and not asking directly things. So sometimes he could assume that I am angry because of my face and be sad all day or think about what's happened to her. And I was not even knowing that or something like this. So I would call it all that one of the struggles, it's different communication styles, which is because we're from different cultures and such different cultures. Like it's not even Europe with Europe, some European countries between each other. It's or literally different continents. And one that comes first to my mind is really all these different conversational styles, and again you need to communicate a lot to overcome it. Sometimes you're already tired to explain it. I'm not mad, I am just like this, but you have to do it because it just, for him it's different, and for me it was also different all my life. No one was smiling to me in the supermarket, and I used to not smile to anyone, but now of course it's more of a mix in us, like where really I feel we mixed a lot of traditions and a lot of like cultural vibes. It's really completely different what's happening inside of our house. So yeah, I think it's very relatable to a lot of people.
Would you say, okay, let me rephrase it, you did change, so to speak, over the past few
I
months?
did change. I did change. And of course, everyone who moved abroad knows that as soon as you leave your country, you coming back there, you're already a foreigner. You coming back, it's already no way back. Like you cannot come back and you feel same. No, it's always every country first of all brings something new to you, and when you live for a long time somewhere, it's changed you, and sometimes you don't know even if it's for the country or you just maybe grew, or you just experience that kind of challenges and changes that you has to change. So it's all together, I would say, but that's true. I did change, and I think as Miguel also changed, even though he's in his country, but relationship with me, it's also a little bit part of cultural differences experience for him every day.
How was it for you to be back in Russia after spending some months in Mexico already?
I actually have been to Russia only once since I moved here. It was 1 year ago already, even a little longer. And I remember that, of course, I see the difference. I saw the difference already even after I came back from Dubai just to visit the family, because my sister even told me that I speak now in Russian with a raising intonation. I don't know how to explain it, but in Russian we have to finish the sentence going in the sound down. And I started even speaking Russian with like a English, like going up with in the end of the sentence. So that was definitely one thing. And of course, I was feeling that I might be expecting a little bit too much from people, because I used to already, everyone is smiling at you, everyone is so happy. Like, I mean, not happy, but just cheerful. We have a little different culture. And I felt already different. But after Mexico, I knew that it's going to happen. I wasn't expecting already too much. I mostly was enjoying the weather. I remember I was feeling so cold, and I was enjoying it. I have never enjoyed being cold that much as in that month when I went back home to visit. It was like, yes, more cold, and just you also start appreciating probably things that you had back at home more. Besides the food, besides all that, it can be also some uncomfortable things that you used to think they're uncomfortable, for example, like cold weather, but you come and you think, oh my god, that's so amazing, snow and minus 25.
Yeah, that's definitely very different to Mexico, I can imagine.
Yeah.
The weather. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm constantly hot here. I'm always feel warm, and it's still I feel a little bit adjusted because it has been already like fourth or even fifth year I live in countries where there is no winter. Like first it was Dubai, and in general I was skipping like a lot of winters. So yeah, it's kind of making me adjusted, but still it doesn't like remove the fact that mm, my body not used to these hot weathers. Especially here on Caribbeans, it's another story. Warm, humid, it's like jungle, tropical, like all these coconut vibes, and which is like so different.
That is very different. I mean, even here in Buenos Aires, and we're not close to the beach or anything, but the fact, as mentioned before, that we celebrate Christmas and summer, and usually the ACs are not working because everyone is turning on their ACs and the system is overloaded and it all just shuts down. And sometimes you don't even have electricity anymore because of this. That's just so crazy. Also, for example, here in Buenos Aires, I don't feel comfortable enough to drive. So I'm not driving by car because it's just hell. I don't understand the way things are even moving here without people getting constantly knocked over because like in Germany, I mean, we just respect the crosswalk, and here it's just all over the place. So whoever comes first just drives, and you're basically as a pedestrian, you're just all the way down here, and you have to be constantly aware of what's happening around you in order not to get hit by a car. So that was one of the first lessons I've learned. Buenos Aires in other parts of
Yeah, I
Argentina is
understand.
different again. So they're definitely like little challenges where you can just laugh about, like crossing the street all the way up to language barrier, feeling like a 4-year-old, as mentioned before. Also, the fact, like, obviously, it just as you've mentioned, it depends on your mood. Like, sometimes you just have days where just like, now I have to get out, buy groceries in the language that's not my mother tongue or in the language I'm not very confident in. But I don't feel like this today. I just, because we all have bad days, I just feel like I want to stay home, do nothing, don't talk to anyone. And I still have to get out and figure out things and find my way because obviously I have to cook and eat. So it's just like, days like this. And this is definitely something I would like to point out as well, that obviously you deal with just so much, so many new things, completely different environment to what you're used to, completely different setting. It's just okay to feel down sometimes and to just, not do everything accordingly as you just vision it, because the bigger picture is still there, and it's just about the small little baby steps along the path while you're still being kind to yourself. As you've just mentioned, and thank you as well for the little reminder. Oftentimes I'm beating myself up, for example, that my Spanish should be so much better. I should be able to navigate myself confidently around Buenos Aires. But on top of this, in my case, for example, some people are actually surprised, but I'm an introvert. As an introvert, and usually it's very difficult for me to navigate my way among strangers. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel confident in general among strangers. And doing this in a different language, but I'm still doing it. And I'm like, whoa, I can be proud of myself. It's crazy. It's amazing. I'm navigating it somehow. I get my way. I get to my goal. It's a personal story as well. It's a personal, yeah, don't compare yourself with others as well, because that's a trap that's easy to fall into. Happens to me constantly, that you just start comparing yourself with friends, for example, that moved here 2 years ago and their Spanish is perfect, or it seems like they're navigating life easily in a new setting. But again, take into consideration you're a different person, you are you, and you have a different approach, and you're still doing it. Be proud of
Exactly,
yourself.
yeah. That's so true. That's super true. I like what you say because that's 100% normal to even not for just days. You can have a period of time when you feel lost, you feel you don't want to do this anymore. Sometimes it's really where it all starts. Like we talked about change, and for some people, also the change means you need to follow your roots. You don't have to change for someone, or you don't have to change for something. It's never a change for something, it's always a change for yourself. And I felt that here in Mexico, even for how many difficulties and struggles I needed to go through, I came to that it's a moment of my life when I understand myself the most. I have never was in that good relationship with myself as here, because probably all these things make you more self-conscious and make you, okay, why do I feel that? You start thinking more about your emotions because you change your routine completely, and it make this space in you that, oh my god, that's so new, that's so new emotions, new, I don't know, flavor, new things, and you start experience yourself more, you start knowing yourself more. And even because of that, because I am here, and all that happened to me, I finally doing like what I wish to do. I remember at school, I wanted to make videos. I wanted to record all the school events. I was trying to make kind of school movies. I know it wasn't appreciated that much at the time, and I forgot completely about it. I forgot it because I even was considering to go to university and to go to like cinema university, or how you call this, like acting universities. I wanted to be a videograph or something similar to that, but it just wasn't appreciated that much in that environment. And I needed to go all this way through here, making all these brave steps, and little by little, I was trying different stuff, but I finally was like, oh my god, it's time to start doing what I always wanted. And that's why I created the blog. I really enjoy, for example, being in this project like this and talking and like explaining to the people that don't afraid to start something new and to change somehow, because sometimes, and most of the times, it's for good. It's maybe you needed that, maybe all the struggles I like always also analyze with Miguel itself. We analyze that even how maybe first year seems to be much more difficult, it really made us who we are right now. It made us so strong as couple. Me personally, as I mentioned, I really in that good understanding of my thoughts I never been before. And maybe the life is not only about having the same routine as everyone else. It's not about having same path as everyone else, having same experience, doing exactly what told you like in the books. Is something that we all have unique, and that what brings you your unique life experience, brings you maybe your true self. Maybe you don't know it yet, and some brave steps, it's what going to show you more about yourself.
Which includes moving constantly out of your comfort zone. Even though if you're super comfy
Exactly.
right now, but move out of your comfort zone if you want to grow.
Exactly.
And as you've mentioned, like I'm sure everyone who's listening or watching right now, your CV is also not straight off the book. Because if I look at my CV, I'm just like, okay, I went, I went my path, I took my routes, I have some curves I took here and there, but after all, I explored what's left, what's right to figure out what do I like and what am I capable of. And that's just the beauty. The beauty is not the straight line. The beauty is what's left and right. And that's also, if you visualize it like this, such an powerful picture as well, knowing that you're capable of doing this. And that's a great gift as well. But again, this just comes with leaving the comfort zone. And sometimes it sucks and sometimes it hurts and it's an emotional roller coaster, right? But this is all part of it. And as far as I can tell, I mean, we don't know each other so well yet. You definitely had your ups and downs as well along your little roller coaster of emotions as well along your journey to slowly come to an end. I mean, you've mentioned your blog already. I know that there's just so much more you're sharing out of your experience to motivate others and to connect with others. So, what is it exactly you're doing at the moment?
Exactly in the moment, I would say my blog. Like, besides that, how the blog came to mind is that I was developing myself, I was exploring myself. And one of the way how you can use your like love for making videos is start a social media in these days. So that's what I did. What I do there, it's I'm showing my experience. I'm mostly, of course, trying to as well motivate people to not be afraid of some unique paths, not to be afraid to do first steps. Also, I talk a lot about travel abroad. It's also some relatable things because I know for sure that when you just moved, you feel, even if it's like not, you're not in international relationship, you just moved. Even it can be a city in your own country. You have no friends. You think, oh my God, I'm the only one in the world with all these problems. And that's not true. You're not only one, and that's what I'm trying to show. I'm trying to also talk a lot about our differences and difficulties or similarities oppositely in my international relationship and also in general in international people. Like, it's not always relationship, it can be also friendships, because sometimes we are so different, but most of the times we can find these similarities between each other. And it's so magical to experience all this international thing. We all people, we all have, for some reason, same problems, same challenges in life. And it's always good to know you're not the only one. You're not one that left with all that. So yeah, I'm also showing, of course, my lifestyle here in Mexico, how it's going. I am working a little bit like as a model here, and it's on the beginning of my career, but it's also something that I couldn't believe I could be doing before. At here, I said, why I'm not going to try this if I like? And there are a lot of things that people restrict themselves because they think they not good enough or something excuses or things like not doubts about themselves. So yeah, it's this what it's about.
What is your plan for the future? Are you guys planning to stay in Mexico on the long run, or what's next for you as a couple, but also you as an individual?
About the Mexican, for now, it's super fit our plans and goals. For now, we are here, but of course, we just those kind of people who always will look for opportunities. We never like how to say decline things from our vision. We sometimes see some, I don't know, maybe job offer or some video about some country, and we always already start thinking, okay, maybe we should move there. But it's just this travel bug that we have, both of us. Right now, I think for next few years, maybe like 2 years for sure, we're here. And personally, I would say that I am really determined to develop my blog. I'd like uh, to do all that. It's just really my passion, and it gives me so much joy to know that someone find my thoughts or my video relatable, that someone like me just felt, oh, there is also someone with same things, or in general, I really like doing it. So for me, basically, it doesn't mean that I need to be like only in Mexico. I am open in the world. But yeah, I would say like this.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. I know we skipped the whole part of your relationship, but I think everyone who's listening and watching right now, the best way to reach out to you is via Instagram. So if you guys have more questions, I will link Lena's Instagram profile below as well as her blog. One last question before we hang up. From your experience over the past few years of you sitting in Russia and having the urge to travel, to explore what's out there in the world, to just taking a leap of faith, to start traveling over different jobs or doing different jobs, to finding a partner, getting married, moving to Mexico, meeting his family, traveling back to Russia together in order for him to meet your family as well, going back to Mexico. I mean, that's quite a journey. There's a lot to take into consideration, but I'm wondering, what's one advice you would like to share with everyone who's just listening and watching right now?
That's, I feel, very, very important and emotional, to say that it doesn't matter if we're talking about moving the countries or we're talking about international relationship. It's a general rule for life that I've noticed that life loves people who is brave enough to do and to try. So I would say don't be scared to do something wrong, because there is nothing wrong in the way if you chose it. It's always going to bring you something you wouldn't expect, but on the same time, that's the magic of life. That's the magic that everything can be possible. If you can imagine it, everything can be achievable just as much as you believe in it. Yeah, don't be scared. Try new things. Go to this course that you were planning to, travel to this country that you were like wishing to travel. I don't know, go to this, like learn this language and all other examples that you were maybe doubting, should I do it or should I not? I think the answer to this question is always yes, because that's the life, and the magic is hidden and really on all these unexpected decisions.
Thank you so much again for sharing your story. I had a great time talking to you. It's very motivating as well. Also, a great reminder for myself to be kind to myself. And as mentioned along the podcast recording, to really take it step by step and to, yeah, sometimes also not to take yourself too serious, because I like to do that as well, like taking myself way too serious. As mentioned, for everyone listening or watching right now, you will find Lena's contact details below in the side note as well as in the description. And yeah, I wish you a wonderful afternoon, sending besitos to Mexico, and thanks again for your time today.
Thank you very much, Christina, as well. I had amazing time talking to you. I even wish we talked much more. And yeah, thank you very much for people who joined us today, who listened it. I hope you took something for yourself, or at least you enjoyed. So yeah, thank you very much.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.